This is probably going to kill me, but I'm reading out of the Truth in Lending Act from the Code of Federal Regulations in Subpart A, and I'm reading the definitions and rules of construction, part 1026.2. Definitions for this part, the following definitions apply. Act means truth in lending. Advertisement means a commercial message in any medium and any that promotes directly or indirectly a credit transaction. For billing cycle and cycle means the interval between the days and dates of regular periodic statements. These intervals shall be equal and no longer than a quarter of a year. An interval will be considered equal in the number of days in the cycle. Does not vary more than 4 days from the regular day or date of the periodic statement. Bureau means the Bureau of Consumer Financial Protection. Business day means a day on which the creditor's offices are open to the public for carrying on substantially all of its business transaction functions. However, for purposes of rescission under 1026.15 and 1026.23, and for the purposes of various other sections, mostly 1931-46. The term means all calendar days except Sundays and legal public holidays specified in United States Code, a different section of that, such as New Year's Day, the birthday of Martin Luther King Jr., Washington's birthday, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving Day, and Christmas Day. Card issuer, number 7, means a person that issues a credit card or that person's agent with respect to the card. Cardholder means a natural person to whom a credit card is issued for consumer credit purposes, or a natural person who has agreed with the card issuer to pay consumer credit obligations arising from the issuance of a credit card to another natural person. For purposes of 1026.12 A and B, the term includes any person to whom a credit card is issued for any purpose, including business, commercial, or agricultural use, or a person who has agreed with the card issuer to pay obligations arising from the issuance of such a credit card to another person. Cardholder means a natural person to whom a credit card is issued for consumer credit purposes. Cash price means the price at which a creditor in the ordinary course of business offers to sell for cash, property, or service that is the subject of the transaction. At the creditor's option, the term may include the price of accessory services related to the sale, service contracts, and taxes and fees for license, title, and registration. The term does not include any finance charge. Closed-end credit means consumer credit other than open-end credit as defined in this section. Consumer means a cardholder or natural person to whom consumer credit is offered or extended. However, for purposes of rescission under 1026.15 and 1026.23, the term also includes a natural person in whose principal dwelling a security interest is or will be retained or acquired. If the person's ownership interest in the dwelling is or will be subject to the security interest. 12. Consumer credit means credit offered or extended to a consumer primarily for personal, family, or household purposes. 13. Consummation means the time the consumer becomes contractually obligated on a credit transaction. 15. Credit card means any card, plate, or other single credit device that may be used from time to time to obtain credit. Credit card account under open-end, not home secured consumer credit plan means any open-end credit account that is accessed by a credit card except A or B. A home equity plan subject to requirements of 1026.40 that is accessed by a credit card, or an overdraft line of credit that is accessed by a debit card or an account number. Charge card means a credit card on an account for which no periodic rate is used to compute the finance charge. 16. Credit sale means a sale in which the seller is a creditor. The term includes a bailment or lease, including terminable without penalty at any time by the consumer, under which the consumer 1. Agrees to pay as compensation for the use a sum substantially equivalent to or in excess of the total value of the property and service involved, and 2. Will become or has the option to become, for no additional consideration or for nominal consideration, the owner of the property upon compliance with the agreement. Creditor is 1. A person who regularly extends consumer credit that is subject to a finance charge or is payable by written agreement in more than 4 installments, not including a down payment, and to whom the obligation is initially payable either on the face of the note or contract or by agreement when there is no note or contract. 2. For purposes of 1026.4C8, discounts, 1026.9D, finance charge imposed at time of transaction, and 1026.12E, prompt notification of returns and crediting of refunds, a person that honors a credit card. 3. For purposes of Subpart B, any card issuer that extends either open-end credit or credit that is not subject to a finance charge and is not payable by written agreement in more than 4 installments. 4. For purposes of Subpart B, except for the credit and charge card disclosures contained in 102660 and 1026.9 E and F, the finance charge disclosures contained in 1026.6A1 and B31 and 7A4 through 7 and B4 through 6, and right of rescission set forth in 102615. And Subpart C, any card issuer that extends closed-end credit that is subject to a finance charge or is payable by written agreement in more than 4 installments. So basically, we're defining creditor. 5th, creditor means a person regularly extends consumer credit only if it extended credit other than credit subject to the requirements of 1026.32 more than 25 times or more than 5 times for transactions secured by a dwelling in the preceding calendar year. If a person did not meet these numerical standards in the preceding calendar year, the numerical standards shall be applied to the current calendar year. A person regularly extends consumer credit if, in any 12-month period, the person originates more than one credit transaction and is subject to the requirements of 1026.32 or one or more such credit extensions through a mortgage broker. Down payment means, this is definition number 18, down payment means an amount including the value of property such as trade-in paid to a seller to reduce the cash price of goods or services purchased in a credit sale transaction. A deferred portion of a down payment may be treated as part of the down payment if it is payable not later than the due date on the second otherwise regularly scheduled payment and is not subject to a finance charge. 19. Dwelling means a residential structure that contains 1 to 4 units, whether or not that structure is attached to real property. The term includes an individual condominium unit, cooperative unit, mobile home, and trailer if it is used as a residence. Open-end credit means consumer credit extended by a creditor under a plan in which the creditor reasonably contemplates repeated transactions. The creditor may impose a finance charge from time to time on an outstanding unpaid balance, and the amount of credit may be extended to the consumer during the term of the plan up to any limit set by the creditor. It is generally made available to the extent that any outstanding balances were paid. That's the definition of open-end credit for you. Periodic rate means a rate of finance charge that is or may be imposed by a creditor on a balance for a day, week, month, or a subdivision of a year. Person means a natural person or an organization including corporation, partnership, proprietorship, association, cooperative, estate, trust, or government unit. 23. Prepaid finance charge means any finance charge paid separately in cash or by check before the consummation or at consummation of a transaction, or withheld from the proceeds of credit at any time. Residential mortgage transaction means a transaction in which a mortgage deed of trust, purchase money, security, interest arising under an installment sales contract, or equivalent consensual security interest is created or retained in the consumer's principal dwelling to finance the acquisition or initial construction of that dwelling. 25. Security interest means an interest in property that secures performance of a consumer credit obligation and that is recognized by state or federal law. It does not include incidental interest such as interest in proceeds, accessions, additions, fixtures, insurance proceeds, whether or not the creditor is a loss payee or beneficiary, premium rebates, or interest in after acquired property. For purposes of disclosures under 1026.6 and 1026.18, the term does not include and interest that arises solely by operation of law. However, the purposes of the right of rescission under 1026.15 and 1026.23, the term does not include interests that arise solely by operation of law. 26 state means any state, the District of Columbia, Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, and any territory possession of the United States. Rules of construction. For purposes of this part, the following rules of construction apply. Where appropriate, the single form of a word includes a plural form, and plural includes a singular. Where the words obligation and transaction are used in the regulation, they refer to a consumer credit obligation or transaction, depending upon the context where the word credit is used in the regulation. It means consumer credit unless the context clearly indicates otherwise. Unless it is defined in this part, the words used have the meanings given to them by state law or contract, and where the word amount is used in this part to describe disclosure requirements, it refers to a numerical amount. 1026.3, exempt transactions. This part does not apply to the following. Business, commercial, agricultural, or organizational credit, or extension of credit primarily for a business, commercial, agricultural purpose. An extension of credit to either a natural person, including credit to government agencies or instrumentalities, other than a natural person, that is. And B, credit over applicable threshold amount exemption requirements, an extension of credit in which the amount of credit extended exceeds the applicable threshold amount, or in which there is an express written commitment to extend credit in excess of the applicable threshold amount, unless the extension of credit is A, secured by any real property or by personal property used or expected to be used as the principal dwelling of the consumer, or B, a private education loan as defined in 1026.46b5. 2, annual adjustments. The threshold amount in paragraph B1I of this section is adjusted annually to reflect increases in the Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers as applicable. See the official commentary to this paragraph B for the threshold amount applicable to a specific extension of credit or express written commitment to extend credit. Transaction rule for open-end accounts exempt prior to July 21st, 2011. An open-end account that is exempt on July 20th of 2011 based on an express written agreement to extend credit in excess of $25,000 remains exempt until December 31st of 2011 unless the creditor takes security interest in any real property or in personal property used or expected to be used as the principal dwelling of the consumer, or the creditor reduces the express written commitment to extend credit to $25,000 or less. C, public utility credit, an extension of credit that involves public utility services provided through pipe, wire, other connected facilities, or radio or similar transmission, including extensions of such facilities if the charges for service, delayed payment, or any discounts for prompt payment are filed with or regulated by any government unit. The financing of durable goods or home improvements by a public utility is not exempt. Securities or commodities accounts. Transactions in securities or commodities accounts in which credit is extended by a broker-dealer registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission or the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. Home fuel budget plans, an installment agreement for the purchase of home fuels in which no finance charge is imposed. 7, student loan programs, loans made, insured, or guaranteed pursuant to a program authorized by Title IV of the Higher Education Act of 1965. 20, United States Code 1070 and sequential. And lastly, G, employer-sponsored retirement plans, an extension of credit to a participant in an employer-sponsored retirement plan qualified under Section 401 of the Internal Revenue Code, a tax-sheltered annuity under Section 403B of the Internal Revenue Code, or an eligible governmental deferred compensation plan under 457B of the Internal Revenue Code. According to all of this United States Code, provided that the extension of credit is comprised of fully vested funds from such participant's account and is made in compliance with the Internal Revenue Code as per the United States Code. And I'm going to break before going into finance charge.